Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League Racing TV YouTube channel for round 5 of the Division 3 season. My name is Aidan Carter, otherwise known as Carmentis. As always, I'll be taking you through proceedings on a Thursday evening, and joining me in the commentary box once again this season is TTG Conti. Conti, how are you this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing really, really well, although I am not one of the lucky ones who has a PlayStation 5 already. But still, I'm doing really great and looking forward to today, as last week was another exhilarating race.
Yeah, it really, really was. We've had 4 rounds so far this season, and we've had a real array of different winners and just so many different things happening already this season. Last time out, if you did miss it, we were at Baku last week, and last week it was going to be B Morgan that was looking likely to win for the 3rd time in a row, but unfortunately with a lap and a half to go, he put the car in the wall in the castle section. Didn't retire, but did pick up a lot of damage, so he dropped well down to the bottom end of the field. Isotopic then ended up picking up the race victory. Isotopic led for the majority of the way really through that race. He lost out to B Morgan on a strategy choice, but then regained it on his mistake. Jan ended up on the podium for the 2nd time this season. He picked up a 2nd place finish in that race, and Hero Joking back on the podium as well. First time he's been on the podium since his race victory at the start of the season. So a real topsy-turvy last time out, like we would expect really from Baku. Coming into circuit Paul Ricard, the French Grand Prix, very, very different track this one, isn't it? A completely different dynamic to this race.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's just walls around the track on Baku last week, and this is really open and yeah, really colorful paintings along along the way. But yeah, completely different track and really hard on the tires as well. It's going to be really important to get your tires in check here.
Yeah, that is one thing to look out for. The tyre strategy here can play a massive part. Like we have seen at tracks in the past, noticeably places like Spain and China always have been notoriously difficult on tyres, and this is another one that adds to it. Like you say, those colours off the line, some people might find it horrifying and difficult to look at. I don't personally mind it that much, but one thing, I think the track itself actually isn't that bad. I think the reputation for Paul Ricard is a lot worse than the track actually than we really give the track credit for. I think the track itself is actually quite a nice circuit. I think it is just somewhat, in real life Formula 1 at least, somewhat difficult to race here. And obviously you have country acres of runoff on this track. So that is some of the issues that you really, that's a lot of people, what you see a lot of people complaining about with this circuit. But even so, the strategy in this one is really going to be key to this race and how this one plays out. You would likely see that the best strategy around this track really being that medium hard strategy, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Probably, I think the front runners are going to go qualify on the soft, so they are committed to a soft hard strategy then. But the softs go off so incredibly fast around this track, and they heat up so fast. So, yeah, I would go for a medium hard strategy around France.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you on that one. I would definitely go for the same thing. I think it's definitely the best way to get round this track is that. And one thing to note around this track as well, you will definitely notice it in the last sector of this lap. A lot of long, high-speed corners around this circuit. You don't really see a lot of quick chicanes. So the majority, really, of the quick chicanes you see are in the early part of the lap. But that last half of the lap absolutely murders that front left tyre with the amount of long turning you have to do, especially that double apex. I believe it is turn, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember what corner number it is. I think it's turn 11. Turn 11, the long turn 11, the slightly cambered double apex right-hander. That can murder your front left tyre, can't it?
Yeah, it can. I mean, I've on multiple occasions just mid-corner lost the car because the tires were that hot and had to correct myself and lost a lot of time. So yeah, it is pretty difficult that one, especially on a bit older tires.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just getting in then to the first part of qualifying. So it's going to be Nolan that's going to be the first person to take us through a lap. Nolan he's shown flashes of pace so far this season, but it just really hasn't come together for him as of yet. We'll have to wait and see whether he can put himself maybe on the podium. We've had a number of podium finishes so far this season. I'm just counting now actually to see how many we've had. I believe we've had, that's 5, 6, I believe we've had 7 different podium sitters this season out of 4 races. So who knows? That's already half the field, at least, that's had a podium this season, and we're only 4 rounds in. And just speaking of the rounds as well, we're going to go and have a look at the championship standings just before Nolan starts his lap here at Paul Ricard. So B Morgan does still lead the way, but the championship lead is far smaller than it could have been coming out of Baku. He is on 79 points. He has now an 8-point lead over Isotopic. Isotopic's really been running in the midfield all season long, and then has just come from absolutely nowhere after that win last time out and jumped up into second in the championship. Jan runs third, a further 4 points back, and then it's 2 points back to Simply Superman, who was not here last week, so he lost out a little bit to B Morgan because of that. Hero Jokin up to 5th, Old School down to 6th, Kiki runs 7th, and then Lighty 8th, Sean 9th, and Steph rounds off the top 10. Steph into the top 10 for the first time this season. Could have challenged for the victory last time out, had really, really good pace, put it on pole, but unfortunately had contact with the ball quite early on, and that really ruined his race. But just the gap between the drivers in the standings, it is 31 points from 1st to 9th, and that is a race victory in a fastest lap. That goes to show how close it is this season.
Yeah, incredibly close all season long, and that's why we have so many different people seen on the podium. It's it's just so thinly packed. They're so close together, all of them. Great. That's why it's a spectacle every race.
Yeah, definitely is. This has been such a good season so far. We're riding on board then with Nolan as he exits the first sector on a 21.9. He's now coming through the corner of turn 6 and then into turn 7 before the Mistral straight, the back straight, which it has obviously a chicane down the middle. The regular Mistral straight goes for country miles, it feels like. It's such a long straight if you take the chicane out. This chicane then uses an overtaking opportunity, turns 8 and 9 into the turn 8 and then turn 9 through the little kink on the exit. Nolan has already invalidated this lap. You might see that quite a lot this session. You might see a lot of people go out on the soft compound tyres and purposely invalidate a lap so they do not set an actual time on those compounds of tyres. Now coming through turn 10, easy flat in qualifying and in the race as well. And now into that dreaded turn 11. Don't run out too wide. You can hit the flat at the top of the track and you'll understeer heavily. A little bit cambered in the second part of the corner, and now into the off-camber left-hander of turn 12. So easy to lose the rear of the car on the exit of the corner. Nolan, nice and neat, runs a little bit wide, but he gets away with it. Now through the kink of 13 and then into turn 14, another long corner, and he dives straight into the pit lane, so he's not going to continue on with this lap into the pits then at the end of that one. So the first person to sell a lap will be one of the Williams drivers. That will be Old School, I believe. He's the next person on a lap, and he is committing to a lap on the set of the soft compound tyres. He's now coming up to turn 15, the last corner, that hairpin. Don't hit the curb on the inside, it can unsettle your car. Now the run to the line, which is a lot further down the straight than it was last season. It would be now the line, it is now here. Old School crosses the line, just a 29 flat, so a good lap time from Old School, but immediately beaten by Hero Jokin, who does a 28.6, 4/10 of a second clear. That's a little bit odd because we've seen Hero Jokin qualify either at the bottom end of the top 10 or right at the back of the field all season long. So for him to go 4/10 faster than the man who's really dominated qualifying this season, that's a great start to Hero Jokin.
Yeah, it is, but yeah, it's still quite early in quali, so everything can happen. As Break, it's a new name for me. I can't remember commentating over him, so really excited to see what he can do.
Oh my word! Look at that lap from Lighty, a 28.1. I was about to say B Morgan smashes Hero Jokin's time. Lighty comes out of nowhere and smashes the lot of them, a 28.1. That's a brilliant lap time from the Ferrari man, who we've said so many times this season has really been on form recently. And he's back at the front. He had a couple rounds off where he wasn't quite at the front of the field. Once again, he's put himself at the front again, right in the thick of it. Frederick goes 5th in the second AlphaTauri. He's another person who had a good run last time out in Baku. It didn't quite go his way, but still showed some good pace. Break FN though, that is a good lap, a 29.5 on a set of medium compound tyres. He did race last week. I don't think he didn't really show a lot of pace unfortunately in Baku, but France seems to be suiting him a lot better. He's half a second clear of David and 6/10 of a second clear of Sean, who is once again going out on those mediums first thing. No one else currently is on a lap. Simply Superman invalidated his first one. It was a 28.3, his first one. Would have put him on the front row alongside Lighty, so he had a good start to the session, but unfortunately has invalidated it. So that is an amazing lap from Lighty. However, they've already committed to the soft compound tyres.
Yeah, they did. I don't see them getting a better qualifying time on the mediums. And I think Sean is committing to the softs as well, because it looks like he's going to do a couple of laps on these mediums as he always does. And puts his lap on into the softs. So
yeah, We've had a lot of people just staying in the pit lane in this part of this session. Kiki has not left the pit lane, I don't believe. Martin Bell hasn't. Flores hasn't left the pits. Steve or Harry Noir haven't left either. Jan and Captain Chubbs currently on a warm-up lap. Captain Chubbs actually just starts the run. Captain Chubbs' season so far really has been difficult for him. He's not had the pace so far. We'll see what he can do. Actually, he's in the pit lane for me. It said he was out on track, but he's just disappeared into the pits for some reason. So. Yeah. I think he is out on the track somewhere, unless that is Sean that's just crossed the line. I think it is Sean actually that's just crossed the line. It is, yeah. So I thought I was on board with Captain Charles. I was on board with a Red Bull, and then it cut away. Anyway, moving on. So he does a 30.1 on his second lap on the mediums, but like you say, already taking a lot of life out of the mediums that don't really last that long themselves either. They only last about 10 laps before they start to really fall off the edge of a cliff. This track is really one of the only tracks this season, at least on this calendar, where the hard compound tyres really have a lot of performance.
Yeah, it is. And there aren't that many tracks on the calendar. On the whole calendar, and we only do half a season per season. But yeah, I actually quite like it. I mean, it takes some skills driving around on hard tires. You've got, and when they start to get grippy, they just stay that way all day. So it's quite easy to get, if you get in your rhythm and in your flow on the hard tires, you can keep hold of that for a really long time. So I really like that about the hards.
Yeah, definitely. Like you say, they're very, very consistent tyres. Nolan's on another lap and again has invalidated this one, this time at turn 8 on the inside of the chicane. So he's continuing on. We'll see if he finishes this lap or whether he dives into the pit lane once again. But he seems to have decent pace in the first sector at least. He doesn't seem too off the bat at the moment. So let's wait and see what he could do. But he's one of those people that's just fallen foul of running wide at turn 11. So easy to do. Going in a little bit too hot to the first part of the corner and running out onto that blue concrete on the outside. It causes your car to understeer massively because the top of that corner is flat compared to the banking you have on the inside of it. So easy to do. Nolan's the first one we've really seen do it. Jan's on a lap now in the Mercedes. 2 podiums so far this season. You have to say last season Jan really was just kind of living in the shadow of F1 AMG. Jan picked up a couple podiums, but he was nowhere near the pace of his teammate. This time round, Jan, a real formidable championship contender.
Yeah, he definitely is. F1 AMG moved up to Division 2. Jan stepped out of his shadow. Has a really good teammate as well, Steve, who's always performing. Is one of the quickest here, but he's always performing and finishing up as high as he can. And besides Jan, we've got a couple of other guys who are performing a lot better than last season. Old School, for example, was really up and down last season, and this season his performance is really good.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the fastest in the field. Here comes Jan then to the line. What's his first lap in qualifying going to be? It's a 28.1, so straight to the top of the pile. Great lap from Jan. And actually looking on board with his times, he was setting exactly the same time at the end of the second sector as Nolan was doing. So it looks like Nolan could be right at the front of the field if he sets the lap as well. Great lap time from him though. So he goes ahead of Lighty. So it's Mercedes Ferrari on the front row. Last time we saw that in Formula 1, I can't remember. That must have been a while ago. Kiki on the lap at the moment as well in the Williams. The man cursed to finishing 4th. He's finished 4th so many times this season. He still hasn't picked up that first podium. After the first round of the season, I was expecting him to be the next person to pick up a podium. It still hasn't come his way. He's now coming through the final corner. Where can he put his Williams guys? Teammate currently 5th at the moment. King of qualifying Old School so far this season. 9/10 of a second off pole currently. Here goes Kiki though to the line, and it's going to be a 27.8. Wow. 3/10 of a second clear of Jan. So either the track's really improving or Kiki's found some pace from somewhere. That's a brilliant lap time. First one into the 27s.
Yeah, it's really flying. He came out, I mean, I know he's quick, but this came out of nowhere for me. It's quite a surprise, but if Kiki can set these kinds of times, I'm really curious what the rest of the top guys who you expect to be up there can set for times as well.
Yeah, B. Morgan's currently on a lap in a Renault, and I believe Hero Jokin's also on a lap, but he's invalidated, unfortunately. He was slightly up on his time. It's a 10.5 up, but that wouldn't have put him any higher than where he currently is, 5th on the grid. B. Morgan then coming round to the final corner. Where can he put his Renault? Should have had 3 race victories in a row. Still has 2. The only repeat winner so far this season. Leads the championship. Comes up to the line. Where does he put that Renault on the grid? He goes up to 3rd, so he takes 2.5 tenths off of his personal best. Goes 1/100th of a second faster than Lighty, and 35,000 slower than Jan, and goes into 3rd on the grid. So those 3 barely separated by anything. 3rd on the grid for B. Morgan, but still no one close to Kiki's time yet. No one else in the 27s. We'll see if anyone else can get into that. Can break FN. He's gone onto the soft tyres. His lap still holds 8th on the grid on the set of mediums. So he goes across the line on the soft compound tyres at 28.4. He goes 1.1 seconds faster, goes up to 5th on the grid. So a good lap from Break FN. He goes to the front of the field. Frederick as well has gone to the front to 6th place on the grid on a 28. 28.5, so he goes ahead of his teammate. Isotopic now second in the championship on the medium tyres, currently 9th on the grid. He's done another lap on the medium tyres, crosses across the line, stays 9th on the grid, but goes half a second faster at 29.2 on the medium tyres. Good lap, and it looks like the delta between the mediums is about 1.2 seconds around here, so if he did commit to a soft lap, he could challenge for the front row, but it looks like Isotopic's wanting to do that medium hard strategy.
Yeah, it is the most safe strategy you can do. So, but yeah, you can take a gamble, and I like to gamble sometimes. There's so many people committed to the softs already. You can go with them and throw the medium hard strategy overboard, or take a gamble, and who knows what happens. So, yeah, I think he will go to the soft tires for his final run.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, if everyone inside the top 10's on the softs, then you may as well just do the same thing as them and be the one at the front of the field leading the way. So here comes Nolan then round the final corner. This time he's not invalidated. He will set this time. Where can he go on the grid in the Haas car? Comes up to the line, and it's a 28.1. Goes onto the front row. Great lap from Nolan in the end. Finally got it hooked up. That's another person in the 28.1. So got 4 drivers within a tenth of each other. Second down to 5th on the grid currently. But still no one in the 27s yet. Kiki's still well out in front. Nolan currently runs second. Light is on a lap, but he's invalidated, so he's not going to be improving. It looks like he's going to go for another run on the same set of soft compound tyres, which is a little bit bizarre. You would expect him maybe to come in and put a fresh set of tyres on, and he is actually going to dive in and put a fresh set of tyres on for the last one in qualifying. But Isotopic's still 10th now. He's now 10th on the grid. Someone's just jumped in front. That was Nolan. Simply Superman on the mediums went to 11th on the grid on the mediums as well. So they're obviously going for something different. But Nolan, in the end, a great lap, and by far his best qualifying of the season so far.
Yeah. Yeah, it is, and but please correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought Nolan was a reserve, or is he a full-time driver?
I believe, if I am correct, he is a reserve. I'm just having a look to see who usually is in the Haas cars. So Steph is obviously usually a Haas driver. I haven't actually seen who is in the other Haas car. I'm just going to double check that now. Haas drivers this season, Damon and Steph. So Damon's obviously not here tonight, and I don't think Steph is here either. So he is a reserve driver. He's raced in a couple races so far this season, but I don't think has actually scored any points yet. He's really struggled so far this season, so he's outside the top 20 in points, so he's really struggled so far. So for him to be on the front row at the moment, that's a great performance.
It is, and yeah, we saw him last season a couple of times, and he performed quite good then. So yeah, expecting a lot from Nolan today. I mean, his quality is good, so if he can keep this up in the race, it's maybe another different podium finisher.
Yeah, it could be another one, like you say. Jan's gone out a little bit earlier than everyone else to set his final run. He's got acres of clear track to himself, and he's half a tenth up on his personal best. He was a little bit higher up. He was nearly a tenth clear of his personal best in the first sector. Didn't improve in the middle part of the lap, but even a slight improvement will put him on the front row. How is this final sector going to be in the Mercedes? Nicely hooks up the apexes, both parts of turn 11 into turn 12. Takes a very wide line, misses the apex ever so slightly because of it, but I don't think it's going to affect his run too much. Now through 13 and then into 14 and 15. Does he keep it tight to the inside of the track? He dives into the pit lane, so he decided that he wasn't improving enough in that final sector, and that's a smart thing for Jan, that he went out a little bit earlier, gave him the opportunity to do this. So he went out a little bit earlier than everyone else, so that if he did make a mistake, he could come in and abandon the lap and go again.
Yeah, really smart, because now he obviously has a chance. If he wouldn't have done that, it was going to be qualifying over. And just want to say one thing, TNR staff. I was just reading the absence chat. Hope you're doing well, mate. He was in the hospital because he cut his finger with a circular saw. So
oh wow.
Hope we'll see you back next week, buddy.
Yeah, fingers crossed Steph is all good. Hopefully he's watching tonight as well. Cheering on his current Haas teammate Nolan, who's actually gone out on the medium compound tyres. Old School's on a lap meanwhile in the Williams. He's another one that's gone a little bit early. David in front of him on the track as well is on a lap, but he's invalidated, so he won't be improving on 13th for the time being. He's going to dive into the pit lane as well, so we'll wait and see what Old School can do. Currently only 9th on the grid. That will be his worst qualifying of the season so far. Well, his worst qualifying of the season actually is 10th, but that was on a set of medium compound tyres that he pulled that off. Currently his softs, he's over a second off pole, His teammates currently on pole. Will it be an all-Williams front row? Old School crosses the line. Only 5th on the grid. Another person into the 28-1s. How many people want to be in the 28-1s? Captain Chubbs goes into the top 10. That's by far his best qualifying of the season so far on a 28.7. Another one in the 28-1s, but Old School, king of qualifying so far this season, you have to say, nearly, well, over 0.3 of a second, well, 0.3 of a second off his teammate, who's currently on pole position, struggling down on the 3rd row of the grid so far.
Yeah, or it's just Kiki who had an incredible lap, but yeah, I mean, 5 people into the 28-1s. So yeah, I think it's just a really good time Kiki set, and it's gonna give him pole and the 2 points that come with it today.
Yeah, running on board with Lighty, he's on a lap currently. I think Kiki made a mistake coming out of turn 2 on his next run, so he's already backed off. Look at the traffic going onto the back straight. There's so many cars, and Lighty's gone off the road. He's had I don't know if he had to avoid a car if he made a mistake, but he's run off the road coming out of turn 7, so he's already lap. The amount of traffic is really going to hinder some people. There was one of the AlphaTauris, but they're both on outlaps currently. That was Hero Joking coming up behind Lighty. He is not on a lap currently, though. One of the other Ferraris is out on track. That's Martin Bell. Still hasn't set a time in this session, has Martin Bell, but he was fast last time out in Baku. Didn't have the race he would have wanted, but showed great speed. Who else is currently on a lap? Break FN in the Alfa Romeo is currently on a lap. He's coming through the final sector, but he's coming up on these 2 Renault cars. Just going to have to hope that they move out of the way. Break FN coming into the penultimate corner, and the Renault's going to stick. Oh, the Renault was going to go onto the racing line and then backed off of it at the last second. That might have distracted Break FN ever so slightly, as he now comes round the final corner of turn 15, comes up to the line. Where can he improve to? Currently 7th on the grid. He crosses the line and he doesn't improve on his position. He improves by 9,000ths of a second. Might have been affected by the Renault in front of him in that final sector. Can't improve on 7th on the grid. Still a good qualifying for Break FN, but is a little bit detached from the group in front of him. Now everyone starts their final runs as well. Everyone's starting to go for their final proper runs in qualifying. So who else is currently on a lap? B Morgan's just started his. Jan's on another lap again, so after obviously backing out of his first run, he's gone for another run. Kiki and Nolan into the pit lane, so they're not going to be improving on their times. Currently 1st and 2nd on the grid. Can anyone get ahead of them? Lighty's on another lap on the same set of tyres. Old School went for another lap as well, but he's out of the session, so he's not improved, so he's going to qualify 5th and 5th only, and has taken more life out of those soft compound tyres by going for another lap, so that's one thing to look out for. That's Frederick off the road as well. Hero Joking's also gone off the road, so both AlphaTauris have invalidated in the first sector. It's been a bit of a disaster this final run for pretty much everyone in the field. No one's improving. Isotopic's invalidated. His only soft run in qualifying, currently in 11th on the grid. Steve goes 12th on a set of medium compound tyres. Simply Superman's on a lap as well in the Alfa Romeo, but we'll go back to the Renaults who are at the front of the field. Harry Nowag and B Morgan both on laps. Can B Morgan get to the front of the field? Wait and see. Currently 4th on the grid. Where can he put that Renault? Can he put it on the front row? Can he continue to extend that championship lead? 2nd in the championship, currently 11th on the grid. B Morgan comes round the final corner. Martin Bell's gone 2nd on the grid from nowhere, having not set a time in qualifying. Goes onto the front row. Brilliant time from him. B Morgan now crosses the line, and he now goes onto the front row on a 28 flat. So 0.04 of a second clear of Martin Bell. Gets onto the front row. Great lap in the end from B Morgan. Harry Noir goes 9th in the 2nd Renault. We've now got Sean across the line in 9th on the grid as well, so he goes into the top 10. Isotopic crosses the line with that invalidated time. Doesn't improve. Both AlphaTauris invalidated their time, so they're not going to be improving. Where's Simply Superman? Currently 16th on the grid. Comes up to the line. Only 14th in the end. Doesn't improve enough to get even inside the top 10. Really struggled in qualifying. Currently 2nd in the championship, not 2nd in the championship, 4th in the championship. My mistake. That is such a good championship protagonist. 14th on the grid, while the championship leader 2nd on the grid in the Renault. But that's pretty much everyone's qualifying done apart from Break FN, but he's already invalidated his time. Kiki, in the end, no one could get close to him.
Yeah, incredible time from Kiki. B Morgan, yeah, came closest to him, but it's still 2 tenths different. And Martin Bell, I was on board with him whole lap. It's so incredibly difficult. He just had one chance. He stayed in the pits all quali long. I had one chance and he took it and qualified 3rd. Really, yeah, hats off.
Yeah, I was wondering whether Martin Bell was going to wait and do a lap on a medium compound tyres at the end of the session. I wonder if that was why he was waiting so long. Only did one lap and ended up third, so where could he have been had he set a lap time earlier on and had a delta to work off of? That was a brilliant time for Martin Bell, and he showed this pace as well last time out in Baku, didn't he? He had really good race pace, didn't qualify amazingly well, but had great race pace. Obviously, unfortunately, he was another one that picked up damage midway through the race, but showed real potential to be a threat, and coming into his second round of his season so far, a real threat for the race victory today.
Yeah, he is, and yeah, again, Kiki is a little bit detached in first, but behind that, it's yeah, I think 7 to P7 is a tenth of a second difference, so close.
Incredibly close. Again, this track is one of the longest tracks on the calendar, and still all these people are so close together. Look at that, 3/10 covers the top 7 on the grid. That's incredible. Kiki then on pole position, the only man in the end that got into the 27s. B. Morgan gets second on the grid on a 28 flat. Martin Bell goes third ahead of Exile Nolan, his best qualifying of the season, in fourth, flying the flag for Haas today. Jan fifth. Old School 6th on the grid. Lighty 7th ahead of Break FN in the top 10 for the first time this season. Sean 9th. Harry Noir grounds off the top 10. Frederick 11th ahead of Hero Joke in 12th. Both AlphaTauri's will be the first drivers to go onto a set of new compound tyres at the start of the race. Captain Chubbs 13th. Simply Superman and Isotopic 14th and 15th on the grid. Steve 16th ahead of David and Flores. And Langfeld didn't set a time in that session, 19th on the grid in the Racing Point. So a bit of a topsy-turvy qualifying. A lot of fast people at the front and then a lot of fast people at the back. Noticeably, obviously, Simply Superman and Isotopic, 2nd and 4th in the standings, 14th and 15th on the grid.
Yeah, but Isotopic, I think he invalidated a soft lap because he qualified on the mediums. So I think he made a mistake somewhere. Because if you're 15th, you could as well throw the medium, starting on the mediums overboard. But yeah, it's really incredible. Some people you expect high up ended high up, and so some people like Isotopic in down into P15. So yeah, and a lot can happen in the race as well. I mean, we saw what was it, the first race from P17 to P1, Hero Joking. So everything's possible in this division.
Yeah, like I say, everything is possible. We've had so many topsy-turvy races. I think we've got pretty much every single prediction we've ever done wrong so far this season, because every race has been so all over the place. But coming out of qualifying, just at least if we're basing it off of qualifying, B. Morgan doing a solid but trying to extend his championship lead. Could have done it last time out in Baku, like I said a couple times already this stream. Could have had a massive championship lead coming into this round after what could have been his 3rd win in a row. Unfortunately, didn't pick up the points, but still leads the championship. And now this is another opportunity for him to really extend that championship lead.
Yeah, it is, and he is incredibly fast. Last time he was unlucky. I mean, we were both a bit surprised. Him throwing it away 1.5 laps before the end, or 1 lap before it ended. But yeah, and Kiki as well. I mean, Kiki is fast, and he has to try to keep his car together because he's shown his incredible speed in multiple races, but every time he was up front, something happened and he spun the car. So
great opportunity for Kiki to finally get that first podium of the season, and what a way to get a first podium, to get a win at France. That would be great for his championship as well. He's currently in the top 10 still in the championship, and like I said, everyone from 1st down to 7th in the 1st down to 9th in the standings is all within a race win of each other. So there's still pretty much at the moment, we're not even halfway through the season. There's still technically 9 people in this championship battle, which is absolutely crazy. Kiki is 7th in that order, but on 58 points, he's only 21 points off the championship lead, and he's 7th in the standings. So still a massive opportunity for Kiki to jump up the championship, and he's slowly starting to close in on Old School now. Old School has the pace, you have to say, but his season really hasn't gone his way. He's picked up a podium already this season, but the pace he's shown, you would have expected him maybe to be a bit closer to the front.
Yeah, I do, and most of it, especially because his qualifying is really good. I mean, he qualified 6th this race, but normally we see him up in the top 3 most of the times during qualifying. So you would expect someone who qualifies that good could get more podiums as well.
Yeah, you would expect it, but it hasn't gone his way so far. Maybe he can turn it around today. Just speaking as well of alternate strategies, then outside the top 10, no one is on the soft compound tyres outside the top 10. 11th down to 13th on the medium. Simply for the hard compound tyres, and Matt played absolutely for him a few races ago when he went on to win his first race of the season. So look out for Simply Superman. Isotopic on the mediums, Steve on the mediums, David is on the hard compound tyres, and Flores and Langfell at the back are on the mediums as well. So a real mix of strategies outside of the top 10. But here we go then for the French round, the 5th round of the season here at the circuit Paul Ricard. Who is going to take home the victory today? Are we going to get yet another crazy race in Division 3? It's Kiki and B Morgan on the front row. Lights are out and away they go, and it looks like a fairly even start at the front of the field. No one seems to have got an amazing start. One of the racing points in the wall already. That might have been Isotopic into the wall off the line. As now B Morgan's going to go try and round the outside of Kiki at turn 1, and they make contact, and Kiki spun the car because of it. B Morgan turning in aggressively around the outside, turned into the path of the Williams, and Kiki is already dropped right to the back of the field. It's carnage in the midfield as they now go to turn 4. Someone has spun off that might have been Nolan in the Haas car that spun. What a shame for him. 4th on the grid. 2 people inside the top 4 have dropped at the start of this race. It's been a chaotic start. B Morgan leads the way from Martin Bell. Jan is 3rd, but he's 3rd on the grid. He's 3rd in this race at the moment. Old School 4th. Sean is 5th all of a sudden. They're 3 wide going into the chicane. Lighty down the inside. Old School sweeps around the outside. Holds 4th. Sean holds 5th. Lighty holds 6th. Break FN is in 7th ahead of Frederick in 8th. Simply Superman on the hard compound tyres is 9th, and Hero Jukin runs 10th. Steve runs 11th. Harry Nawag's dropped on those soft compound tyres down to 12th. Isotopic was the one that ended up in the pit wall at the start of the race. So what a disaster for the man second in the championship, already picking up front wing damage on that alternate strategy. It's going to be a long race for him if he wants to recover any sort of result. B Morgan though is the one that leads the way. Him and have disappeared at the front of the field.
Yeah, incredibly. Martin Bell, B Morgan, if they work together now, it's just bye-bye, and Jen won't see them again. But there's this early in the race, there's pretty massive gaps. I mean, Sean, 3 seconds on Old School, Lighty, or is it just a timing glitch on my end?
I think it might have just been a timing glitch on your end. I think it had that for me as well. It's just sorting itself out. The top 2 are within half a second each other. They're 2 seconds clear of Jan already after the first lap. A minute is a queue. Everyone is within DRS range currently, from Jan all the way down to Harry Nawag in 12th on the grid. So there are so many people within range. But I'm wondering whether B Morgan might have an investigation looming over his head. He did turn into turn 1 around the outside of Kiki very aggressively and didn't really leave Kiki a lot of room on the inside, and that's put Kiki in the pit lane at the end of lap 1 to change his front wing and change his tyres. What a disaster for Kiki. Just talking about a great opportunity for him to throw himself into the championship battle, hit at the first corner by the championship leader.
Yeah, this is Kiki's luck this season, it seems. I mean, performing good, but unlucky, either bottling it himself or I missed it because I was watching the midfield, but now touching with B Morgan. But yeah, well, if there's going to be a punishment for B Morgan or not, it's going to have to be investigated by the stewards, and that's it for now.
Yeah, that could be a real cloud over B Morgan's race. But anyway, we will move on from that and see what's going on further down. Nolan's trying to recover after his spin at turn 4. I didn't see who he came into contact with. 4th on the grid, had a great opportunity. Out the way, but he unfortunately spun as well. B Morgan with the fastest lap of the race. Captain Chubbs has dived into the pit lane, so one of he's picked up damage maybe. Nolan now runs 14th, well off the back of Langfell, who currently runs 13th. Everyone down to 13th, from Jan down to Langfell in 13th, all within DRS range of each other, and DRS is now enabled. So this is going to be absolutely crazy to see how this train of cars is going to work. There's so many people all tucked in together. The one at the moment though that looks the most racy in this whole queue of cars at the moment, I would say, seems to be one that's a little Sean trying to work his way forwards. He had great pace at the start of qualifying with a 28.1 straight out the box, and then was never able to improve on it. So I wonder whether he had the pace to maybe challenge for pole position, just couldn't get a clean lap together. Old School tries a run at Jan down towards the chicane, but isn't close enough this time around, so he stays in 4th. Sean stays 5th, Light stays 6th, and they're starting to break away from Break as well, who's currently running in 7th. Frederick, the lead person on the alternate strategy on those medium compound tyres, 8th in the running. But you've got to say, again this season, Simply Superman is the one to look out for on those hard compound tyres. Yeah,
he is. Already up to 9th on the alternate strategy, the reverse strategy, I have to say. So yeah, he can really only by tire strategy win multiple positions as it's really, really close. Now Break is struggling a little bit to keep up with Lighty, but still has enough ERS to get back, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. But yeah, and Steve is looking really raced as well. I think he's going to have a go at Hero Jokin.
Yeah, it's alongside Hero Jokin coming down the pit straight. Hero Jokin pulls back ahead with the ERS as they go into turn 1. Steve has the outside line, but Hero Jokin blocks him off, so he stays in 10th for the time being. But like you said, yeah, Steve looking pretty racy in that Mercedes, currently 11th in the standings so far, currently 11th on the road so far. Hero Noir on the soft compound tyres as well, just behind him on the road, trying to recover after a bit of a poor start for the Renault man as well. He is one of the last people in the field on those softs. Exile Nolan 15th on the grid, the only other person out there below him on the soft compound tyres after his spin, so his strategy utterly ruined from the front of the grid. Speaking of the front of the grid, B Morgan has broken DRS now to Martin Bell. It's a 1.3 second gap, and they continue to pull away from Jan. Make that Old School now as Old School darts down the inside but runs a bit wide. Old School's broken his front wing, so I don't know if he's hit the back coming down to... He's broken his front wing as he goes up into 3rd place. He's ahead of Jan, but Jan, I imagine, would fight back. Coming towards turn 10, Jan's going to dart to the inside. Old School defends it very late into the corner. Jan's going to try and go for a move here. Now a virtual safety car for Nolan, was spun and retired at turn 8. What a shame for him. What a great race this could have been. It's all fallen apart for him. Old School able to hold 3rd, but the front wing damage is going to really pull him out of play, especially on those soft tyres, and that will put Jan, Sean and Lighty back right in the thick of the action as well. Frederick and Simply Superman also both got past Break FN before that safety car, so they are up another place and they continue to march their way forwards.
Yeah, but luckily for Old School there is a virtual safety car, so changing his tire won't take as much time now as it would during normal circumstances. But yeah, really weird. I missed it. I don't know what happened with Old School. Like, I came in when he passed Jen, but I heard a ooh.
Yeah, just since Steve has got a drive-through penalty for speeding behind the virtual safety car. So Steve's race looking so good, currently 9th in the field, has now got to come in and serve that drive-through penalty. Old School into the pits, put the medium compound tire. He thinks the hards can't get to the end, and if I'm honest, I agree with Old School on that one. The hards are not going to get 22 laps into this race. The hards can probably, at max, do about 17 or 18 laps before they reach their puncture territory. Harry Nawag and Break FN are going to hope to try and get to the end on their hard compound tyres as they've changed, but Old School now down to 14th, and he's going to have to pit again in this race. He's going to have to hope for a safety car to bring him back into this one, and this could take Old School even further out of the championship battle, as now Steve battles Hero Jokin once again. Steve goes for a dive down the inside of turn 8. There wasn't enough room, and now Steve is the next person to come. A cropper of contact, spins the car and now drops behind Langfell and picks up a time penalty to boot coming out of turn 9 with a drive-through penalty to serve in the next few laps as well. So his race in the last lap has fallen apart. Hero Jokin holds 8th just about, and now Frederick, Simply Superman and Hero Jokin 6th, 7th, 8th. They're going to start working their way forwards. Jan now still holds 3rd, but Sean and Lighty from nowhere, it seems, in qualifying, now right at the front of the field battling away. And once again, Sean, his race pace much stronger than his qualifying pace.
Yeah, he isn't really a qualifying beast, I would say, but his race pace is incredibly good, and he is, and I mean it's in a good way, an aggressive driver. He can defend really, really well and attack really well. It costs him sometimes, but his race pace is much, much better than his qualifying pace.
Yeah, and it's showing once again, currently running in 4th. He was one of those 7 drivers to already have a podium this season. It's been a great season so far for Sean, as it has been for Lighty, who's another one that's picked up a podium this season. Picked up a win on track in China, but lost the victory because of penalties. So look out for him in this race. Can he work his way forwards? Jan is a little bit of a cork in the bottle for those two. You'd have to say that Sean and Lighty are looking faster than Jan at this point in the race. We'll have to wait and see when the pit stops come, how it all unfolds. Frederick took nearly a second out of Lighty on that previous lap, and now Hero Jokin's going to get past Simply Superman down towards turn 8 and 9. He's got the inside line. Simply Superman decides not to fight it too hard. Hero Jokin on the medium tyres is ahead. And that is smart from Simply Superman. He's got nothing to gain in front, and he's got a bit of a gap back to Langfell behind. He may as well just let the faster runner through and just hold on to the back of him.
Yeah, I mean, he's on a harder compound of tyres, so still a bit slower, but the turnaround will come eventually, so you can save up some ERS and go on the attack in a couple of laps. So yeah, really smart driving, what you said.
Yeah, really smart so far for Simply Superman. Langfeld currently runs 9th then on his own, really, on those medium compound tyres. David runs in 10th on the hard compound tyres as well. He hasn't pitted in this race, but he was involved in a little bit of a skirmish on the first lap, which is why he's dropped off the back. So we've got people into the pit lane then. B. Morgan, our race leader, and Sean from 4th on the road are into the pit lane. Martin Bell then takes over the lead of the race. Jan goes 2nd, Lighty goes 3rd. So it's all starting to shake up at the front. B. Morgan puts the hard compound tyres on, as you would expect. He should be able, maybe he might be able to get to the end of the race on those tyres. It's going to be a push, but you have to do a bit of tyre saving as the race goes on. Sean also onto the hard compound tyres. Where do they come out on track? B. Morgan's going to be behind David, it seems, I think. Or he might just be ahead of him into turn 1. No, I don't think he is. David's going to have the line for turn 1, so B. Morgan's going to have a little bit of traffic here, and this could help Martin Bell. If David starts to hold B. Morgan up and he can't get through, then Martin Bell has an opportunity to perform an overcut here if he has the pace to do it. He was dropping pace ever so slightly as Captain Chubb sets the fastest lap of a race on a 32.7. That's a brilliant lap from Captain Chubbs, but he's currently 17th and right at the back of the field. Kiki's also into the pit lane for a second time in this race, so I don't know if he's picked up yet more damage, but his race has really fallen apart. Good to see he's still going though. B. Morgan now though on the back of David. Breeze has passed in a straight line, so he wasn't held up for that long. He's now up into 8th on the road, and that should save his race lead. But now we just wait for Martin Bell, Jan and Lighty to pull the trigger on their stops too.
Yeah, it is, and Old School got a penalty, 3-second time penalty now, so not looking particularly good for him. But yeah, B. Morgan, I think David was quite nice to him to let him pass. He didn't fight it too much, and knows he's on a different strategy because he had to pit early. So he thought, yeah, well, might as well let him go. So yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And now Lighty and Martin Bell. Oh, I just noticed Lighty and Martin Bell were on the same lap. They're both Ferrari drivers. This is really going to hinder Lighty's race. He should have recognised that Martin Bell was in front of him on the road. He wasn't able to recognise it. This is going to be a lengthy stop for Lighty. I think he's not been as held up as massively as he could have been, but that's still well over what it should have been. And this could drop him behind Old School on the track. And remember, Old School has changed his front wing and put the medium tyres on. So Old School will pit again in this race. But Lighty, from what could have been a battle with Jan and Sean for the final spot on the podium, he's got a lot of ground to make up, because there goes Sean, there goes Old School, there goes Harry Nawag.
Yeah, not the smartest thing to do. I mean, they were quite close to each other, Martin Bell and Lighty. They could see each other, so yeah, Lighty should have seen Martin Bell go in and go for another lap, like Jan did. So, and I'm wondering if Jan can keep his tires in check and win some time over his contenders.
Well, look at Frederick. Frederick's already caught Jan, so he's going round the outside of the Mercedes man, trying to go around the outside at least at turn 10. Can't quite get the move stuck, but he's marching his way forwards, and he's got his teammate Hero joking right on the back of him. It's an AlphaTauri charge at the moment. They're really pulling onto the back of Jan quickly, but Jan, I think, trying to take the pain now for a little bit of a gain later on, as, oh my word, Frederick running into the back of Jan there through turn 12. He's so much faster. You would expect Jan to be in the pit lane here, coming into the pits at the end of this lap, and he does dive in. Frederick and Hero Jokin, as you would expect, they continue on their mediums. So they now lead the way ahead of Simply Superman, who will be 3rd. And these three now need to really, if they want this strategy to work, they can't battle really. They need to start working together in order for this strategy to work. And as I say that, Hero Jokin's going for a move on his teammate around the outside of turn 1. Frederick did defend the line, but didn't really put up too much of a fight. So Hero Jokin does take the lead of the race. Maybe Hero Jokin the faster of the two AlphaTauri drivers at this point in the race. So he's now through into the race lead. We could see what happened in Bahrain. A late safety car could come out, and Hero Joker could find himself right at the front of the field again.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true. That did happen. He was, and it was the perfect timing for him as well, as he would have pitted elsewhere in well, maybe 1 or 2 laps. So yeah, if that happens again, but I don't think around France. I was quite surprised to see a virtual safety car. Because Nolan retired, but I don't think we're going to see a safety car or somebody has to outbrake himself massively by a couple hundred of meters.
Yeah, so obviously unlikely for that to happen, so I have to wait and see how this race pans out. Meanwhile, of all the people that pitted, B. Morgan retains the lead. He's got a 2-second gap now over Martin Bell, so it's all whether B. Morgan can get those hard compound tyres to the end, or whether Martin Bell was better on these hards than he was on the soft compound tyres. David runs 7th on the road. Sean now runs in a net 3rd place, so this has worked brilliantly for Sean. Started this race 9th on the grid. He's now ahead of Old School on track. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. That's Captain Chubbs that had spun coming out of turn 9, unfortunately. So his race, while he's fast, it's just not working out for him. Jan in the background there, all over the back of Old School. So it looks like Old School's medium tyres are already going off, because Jan's really attacking him. And in the background, Lighty was going around the outside of Harry Noag at turn 11 and pulled the move off. So great move from Lighty. He's trying to work his way forwards again after losing out big time to Sean especially, and Jan in this pit stop phase. So Jan's now dropped to a net 4th. Sean all of a sudden back into a net podium place for 9th on the grid. Sean could take his 2nd podium of the season here.
Yeah, he's really looking good today. Deserves it as well. And Lighty, I'm surprised that he got hauled up, but he's looking so incredibly fast. I mean, he went by Harinowar as if he wasn't there, closing into Jan now. So I won't be surprised if it takes him a couple of laps, but he's on the back of Sean then.
Yeah, we did see right at the start of the race that Lighty was crawling all over the back of Sean, and Jan maybe being held up a little bit. So I'll have to wait and see whether he can continue to show this pace as it goes on. He's nearly recaught Jan already, and you have to say Jan's now being a little bit held up by Old School in front. So these medium tyres for Old School not really working at this point in the race, and he's got to pit again. So maybe should have taken the bullet and gone for a set of hard compound tyres when he came in under the virtual safety car, just to at least put him within track position if there was a late safety car to come. Further up the field then, B Morgan continues to be the net race leader. It's still holding steady at about 2.2 seconds back to Martin Bell. These two so far, without Kiki being at the front, these two really have been the class of the field so far, been miles out in front compared to the rest of the people that they've been battling. But now, really, the rest of this race depends on what the two AlphaTauri's and Simply Superman do.
Yeah. And well, I said it depends. If there is going to be a safety car, would be really surprising, but it could really affect Morgan and Martin Bell's race. But yeah, Hero Joker, Frederick, Hero Joker looks faster. He already had a 1.3 second gap to Frederick. Frederick has taken Simply Superman with him. So I think if I have to put my money on one of these three guys, I think it's going to be Simply Superman, who is, in my opinion, on the best strategy right now.
It does look like it. And is he going to go for a move on Frederick here? Uses some of the reserve of his ERS that he's got to try and get the move done. Breezes past in a straight line. This straight is actually a lot longer than it seems. It's quite deceiving how long this straight is. And he breezed past here. He breezed past Frederick and up into 2nd place on the road. So now it seems there's that switch from the hard to the medium, from the medium to the hard, being the fastest tyre now. Can Simply Superman start to close back in on Hero Joking and start to save up some of that ERS that he's used getting past Frederick? In the background there as well, Langfell, the other TNR driver in the racing point, currently all on his own at the moment in that racing point, stuck in 4th place, 6 seconds off the back of these guys in front, on the same strategy but just doesn't quite have the same pace as those drivers. He is now B Morgan ever so slightly, who's running on those hard compound tyres that he pitted for about 5 laps ago. So this race continues to start a little bit now. It's all dependent, like I said, on when the AlphaTauri's and when Simply Superman come into the pit lane. They're continuing on for another lap, so we're going on to lap 12 of this race. Oh, Old School and Jan, yeah, they're going for a move then. Old School starting to close in a bit on Sean, but Jan trying to get the move done, trying to get ahead. They're actually starting to pull away a little bit from Lighty. So Lighty, all of a sudden, after having the pace, not seemingly being able to close in any more than he already is. Jan seems the faster on these hard tyres, so while he struggled on the softs, like I said, he maybe was biting the bullet a little bit earlier on, taking the pain on the soft tyres to have the better hard compound tyres for the end of the race. And at the moment, Jan seems to be the one with the most pace.
Yeah, he does. He went for a move on Old School, but couldn't finish the move and fell back a little bit. But and that puts Lighty now slightly back into this game. But yeah, Jan is really looking fast, and don't know what it is with Old School, but his tires are just 7 laps old, and it just isn't working for him. He can't gain on Sean, and is under all kinds of pressure of Jan. So I think if I was him, I would go in and put the hard tires on now.
Yeah, it really hasn't worked out, unfortunately, for Old School today after picking that front wing damage up. And here goes Jan for another move down to the chicane. Not close enough this time around, so he stays in 10th place on the road. Lighty, meanwhile, has picked up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits, so that's one thing to look out for as this race goes on. Currently 11th on the road. Looking a bit further down as well to other people's races, Captain Chops has pitted for a second time onto a set of hard compound tyres, so he can go to the end of the race, currently 18th. Kiki running 17th, he'll have to pit again. He's on 10 that medium compound tyres, he won't take this to the end. Hero Jokin's into the pit lane. into the pit lane. Yeah, so that's crucial for his race, that he picks up a 5-second speeding penalty coming into the pit, so that could really affect his result at the end of this one. But where does he come out? B Morgan and Martin Bell have pretty much already passed him down the straight. There goes Langfeld, there goes B Morgan, there goes Martin Bell. David will be the next person to pass him on the track, and then it's the likes of Sean Oldschool, Jan and Lighty all battling for that podium place. There goes David, there goes Sean. Where's the pit exit line for Hero Jokin? There it is. He's going to come out behind Lighty and behind Harry Nawag. I believe Harry Nawag will have him on the track, but Hero Jokin, his medium tyres at least 6 laps younger. Oh, he goes very deep into turn 1, but Hero Jokin's hard compound tyres at least 6 laps younger. While he might not have the pace initially in this stint, it's at the end of the race where Hero Jokin's really going to come alive.
Yeah, he is. I mean, 6 laps on the hards doesn't sound that much, but in the end of the race on this track, it really is a lot. And yeah, I think in the end of the race, he's going to come alive and probably gain some positions over that. And I'm really curious about Simply Superman when he pits, where he comes out relatively to him.
You would imagine he would come up behind Hero Jokin in ahead of Isotopic as it runs so far, and Isotopic probably is going to have to pit twice in this race as well. He's already done 11 laps on his card compound tyres after that damage he picked up on the first lap. Jan, meanwhile, has got the move done on Old School for 8th place. Old School was pushing him right to the left-hand side of the track, almost off the track. He was defending so hard against Jan, but Jan just had so much overspeed coming off of turn 7 that Old School could do nothing about it. He's up into 8th place. Old School trying to hang with him. Lighty has now caught these guys. Sean in front's getting a little bit stuck behind David here, so Sean needs to get that move done if he wants to try and gap Jan. It seems at the moment that it's a battle between Sean and Jan for that final spot on the podium. Obviously can't count either Hero Jokin, Frederick or Simply Superman out of that battle yet either. And that, yeah, here he goes round the outside towards turn 1, and David once again very polite on that alternate strategy, knowing that he's not in that battle, pretty much lets Sean go. So Sean's up into 6th place on the road, but just goes to show how much of a class of their own they've been in so far for B Morgan and Martin Bell. 7.5 seconds clear of Sean, who currently runs in a net P3.
Yeah, on the same strategy, nothing different between yellow flag and sector 3.
It's Captain Chubbs. Captain Chubbs has spun the car once again coming out of turn 12. Unfortunately, he keeps the car going without any damage, I believe. But that's yet another spin for Captain Chubbs, who has the pace. Unfortunately, just at the moment, is struggling to keep the car facing in the right direction. Yeah,
and talking about Captain Chubbs, this season, really unlucky. I believe he came from Division 2. He is really fast. It's a fast guy, but isn't going his way so far. So, but yeah, I know he can do better than he's showing now. So let's see if he can put in some extra time and perform better than he does now.
Yeah, just having a look at this battle then, from Sean in 6th all the way down to Hero Jokin in 12th. They're all within half a second of the car in front at the moment. Obviously, Old School and David a little bit out of place on their different strategies, so they will be coming in relatively soon. But either way, they're still right in the thick of this battle. So Jan's going to be stuck a little bit behind David, who probably won't come in for another couple laps or so on those hard compound tyres. Can David hold on to the back of Sean for long enough to keep using DRS as a defence? Jan nearly pushing him through turn 15, and Harry Nawag in the background has a massive slide coming out of turn 15. I think Hero Jokin had to back off the throttle to avoid running into the back of the Relay Man as they now come down towards turn 1. Hero Jokin in the background, though, is not going to go for the move, I don't believe, on Harry Nawag. For some reason, he's got so much ERS. Hero Jokin's nearly got a full tank of ERS, 90% compared to Harry Nawag, who is running down with 6. So Hero Jokin, when he makes the move, he's going to make it look incredibly easy, and you would imagine he'll probably do it on this straight, whilst Harry Nawag doesn't have DRS. But either way, Hero Jokin's doing a great job at saving up his ERS ready for attack as we come now then onto the back straight through turn 7. Is Hero Jokin going to go for the move? He's already on that overtake button. 0.4 of a second back. Here he comes to the back of him as now Jan's made the move stick on David down the straight, and now Old School's going to go for the move on David as well into turn 8. Breaks very late in that Williams car, makes it down the inside, so he's up into 8th place, and Hero Jokin breezed past Harry Nawag in the end, so that everyone's starting to make their way forwards. Hero Jokin, the man on the move.
Ooh, as
Lighty! Oh, what a shame. Lighty looking so good for a battle in the top 5 has spun the car and completely broken from a great opportunity for Lighty in this race to throw himself right into the thick of this championship battle. It's all falling apart for him.
Yeah, and this almost was the ideal situation for Simply Superman. It is that he only lost his wing and kept his wheels on his car, but yeah, this isn't the first time. Really unlucky. Ooh,
break.
Brake went into the back of him.
Yeah, I think Brake got away with it, I think. Just looking at his front wing now, hopefully we can see the right-hand side of that front wing coming through one of the next corners. That's the
Yeah.
bit that hit the car. So just wait and see, maybe coming out of the final corner, whether we can see Hero Jokin, a 32.5. What a lap from Hero Jokin. That was fastest man on the track so far. So he's absolutely flying on his hard compound tyres. A lot younger than the drivers in front of him. 6 laps younger his tyres are than Sean, who runs in that net third place. Meanwhile, battle for the lead still going on. B. Morgan runs third on the road. He's past Langfell. Langfell now under pressure from Martin Bell, who you would imagine is going to breeze past that racing point down this back straight. Goes down the inside, and he is going to. I'm a little bit surprised here, though. Frederick and Langfell on the medium compound still going. So I'm wondering whether they're going for a set of soft tyres.
Yeah, really, really difficult. I mean, they could try it, but I think they're gonna get a puncture. It's not gonna. I think it's not gonna work. But if they do, yeah, incredible if they do.
Yeah, if they pull that off, then absolutely fair enough to them. But you can see Frederick's now 5 seconds behind Simply Superman. He just doesn't have the pace anymore, and he's being reeled in massively by B. Morgan. Martin Bell, we have to say, is still doing a very good job running net second, closing in ever so slightly on B. Morgan, but just doesn't quite have the pace to work his way into DRS range. But remember, they are on quite old hard compound tyres, the oldest really hard compound tyres on the track of the people that you would expect to go to the end of the race. So they're going to struggle as this race goes on. On to lap 17 of this race. Frederick runs still in second place. Simply Superman continues on. Now, we're on lap 17 in this race. By now, maybe you would have expected Simply Superman in for the hard compound tyres, for the medium compound tyres, sorry. I'm wondering whether he's going for a set of softs as well.
Yeah, I think he is. And yeah, obviously, starting on the hards, it is possible to do. And I think he is going to do it. I think he's going to come in a couple of laps from now, put on the soft tires, and he will be flying. And Old School is now, sorry, Hero Jokin was on the back of Jan, but fell back a little bit. So
he's past Old School. Yeah, I think it might have done, yeah, but he's past Old School and all of that. So Old School on his medium tyres now starting to drop back into the clutches of Harry Noirg in this race. So really, really struggling. Captain Chubb's now the fastest lap of the race once again. That's the third time he's done that this race where he's set the fastest lap, but he's currently down in 15th. Further down, Lighty made his pit stop onto a set of medium tyres, currently runs 16th. Kiki now with the fastest lap, but he's still stuck in 17th. What a shame for Lighty and Kiki. Had such good opportunities in these races, and it's fallen apart for them. Hero Jokin back under pressure from Harry Noirg, but from Old School really, but yeah, he's into the pit lane then. So what tyres does he put on? Someone has spun the car. That's Langfell. Langfell spun his car on those mediums. Has he picked up a puncture, I wonder? I think he has. Left rear. Yeah, like you said, exactly what you said was going to happen. Langfell went too long on those medium tyres and has got a puncture, so he's spun out of contention for a possible top 10 in this race. He's already outside the top 10 and he's not made his way to the pit lane. Simply Superman puts the medium tyres on, so he doesn't think the softs are going to get to the end. He wants to be able to push even longer on these mediums. Frederick is the one that's committed to the soft compound tyres. So Simply Superman comes out onto the track, 7th on the road, about 4 seconds behind Harry Noirg, and they're all really in a queue from Sean down. Sean's only 2/10 of a second ahead of Jan, so Jan really flying. Simply Superman, not out the question that he could take a podium here.
Yeah, he can on a medium compound. I hope Frederick can take these tires to the end, as Old School put on the soft tires as well. But yeah, the puncture. I mean, hats off for Langfell trying to go from the mediums to the softs, but in the end, it just cost him more time than gained him nothing. So yeah.
Yeah, didn't really gain anything in the end as Jan has made the move on Sean. So Jan on these hard compound tyres looking much more confident than he was on the softs. He's back into 3rd place, but now 10 seconds behind Martin Bell. B. Morgan and Martin Bell in a class of their own. Like I've said so many times already this race, they are just clearing off in front. B. Morgan and Martin Bell were so evenly matched. They've been running at about 2.1 seconds apart for this entire race, it feels like. Jan then up into 3rd place. Sean's still directly behind him in 4th, though. Hero Jokin the one on those fresher hard compound tyres, 5th on the road. Simply Superman, meanwhile, 4 seconds behind he was coming out of turn 2. Coming up to the end of the lap, we'll wait and see what it is, but it's already down to 2.9. He's flying on these mediums.
Yeah, he is, and Ooh, another yellow flag. Captain Chops is out.
And he's retired from the session, it seems like, as he's hit the wall. And that's the second virtual safety car. Isotopics into the pit lane as the virtual safety car came out. So that will null the effects of his pit stop ever so slightly. But he's well out of contention after that contact with the wall on the first lap, unfortunately, which is a shame for him, running second in the championship after his first win of the season last time out in Baku. This race could not have been really more opposite for him. He's another one committing to the soft compound tyres. He'll probably come out behind Old School. Steve's come into the pit lane as well, so he'll be ahead of Steve. He'll come out in 12th place, so I don't think he'll get much higher than 10th in this one, it seems. Virtual safety car's still out though, but that promotes Frederick up into 8th. Breaker FM, we haven't really seen in this race, runs 9th, but he's on 14 lap old medium tyres. So we've still got 9 laps to go in this race. Can you see B. Morgan and Martin Bell making it to the end with any sort of pace on these tyres?
Yeah, I think they will, and if they don't, they've got a massive gap to Jen. Must say this is the first time this season there's such a big gap between B. Morgan, Martin Bell, and Jen and everybody behind him. But they can take it easy for the last couple of laps if they don't feel comfortable on their tires anymore, because they got such a big gap. So I don't think if they don't make any mistakes, they will just stay in this order as they are now.
Yeah, seems like that is the way it is going at the moment. Martin Bell closed in a little bit on that virtual safety car restart, but still not really close enough to put any sort of pressure on the Renault man. They are now 11.2 seconds clear of Jan. They're nearly a second a lap faster at this point in the race. Look in the background though, Simply Superman's nearly already caught this queue of cars, so 7th place at the moment could become third very soon on as they all start to battle for that third spot on the road. Sean's starting to come back at Jan all of a sudden. Now only 0.3 of a second back, and Hero Jokin on those special hards is looking pacey as well in the Alpha Tauri. Harry Nuag, you've got to say, is 6th on the road. 15 laps these hard tyres have already done. He's going to be the one that struggles first on these hards towards the end, and he's already starting to lose pace to Hero Jokin in front as Old School's worked his way past, as Hero Jokin picks up his second penalty of the race, unfortunately. Old School, meanwhile, has worked his way past David and back into the top 10, but it'll be pretty difficult for him to get any higher than 9th in this race. 10th is where it looks like he might end up in this one, which is such a shame for Old School's race. Looking, though, back to that battle for third place. Sean not close enough. No ERS really to attack. He's not close enough to Jan. Hero Jokin in the background, not close enough either. And now Simply Superman starting to get within DRS range of Harry Nuag.
Yeah, he is on the medium tyres, and Harry Nuag's tyres are already 15 laps old. I hope he can keep his tyres in check and don't have a puncture in the end of the race, because it's a great comeback from him after some unfortunate events today. But yeah, Simply Superman really flying, and yeah, I think he's gonna, he's just on the back of Harry now and not out of contention of the podium. So Sean, watch out.
Yeah, you've got to watch out for this one. It's going to be incredibly close. At the moment, Harry Nuag and Hero Jokin kind of out of play because they both have time penalties in this race. So they're not really battling. While they are on track, for penalty-wise, they're not really close enough to really attack here. Harry Nuag starting to close back in on Hero Jokin. Hero Jokin all over the back of Sean coming out of that final corner, but not close enough. And still, Hero Jokin has a massive ERS advantage to the two drivers in front of him. Once again, 85% ERS Hero Jokin has. He's got a massive amount. So if he gets close enough to Sean, he should be able to breeze past, because Sean has barely anything in reserves. As Old School did a 30.9. What a lap time from Old School that is. That's nearly 2 seconds faster than anyone. Immediately beaten by Isotopic by half of a second. He now takes the fastest lap of the race, currently running in 12th. As here goes Hero Jokin then on the back of Sean for 4th place on the road. Darts to the inside line. Sean doesn't really have anything in defence. He has no ERS whatsoever. Hero Jokin makes the move stick and he's up into 4th place. 3rd is just in front of him, and you'd have to say that Hero Jokin could take that quite easily, but his penalties are the thing that's going to cost him at this point a possible podium.
Yeah, not possibly, definitely gonna cost him his podium. I mean, he's got 11 seconds of time penalty, so he's gonna drop back massively after this. So what could have been if he didn't have that penalties? I mean, he is driving a great race besides that. So yeah.
Yeah, besides that, like I say, it's been a great race so far for Hero Jokin. Once again, goes to show why he's in the thick of this championship battle, but it's just not been quite what he would have wanted. Simply Superman, meanwhile, made the move stick on Harry Nuag at turn 10, so he's got down the inside up into 6th place on the road, and he's already on the back of this queue of cars forming once again behind Jan. Jan really has been the lead coach in the train so far today. He's been at the front of these queues pretty much the whole race long, and Hero Jokin's now his next challenger right behind him, and you would imagine he can get past him pretty quickly. It's all about, can Simply Superman work his way forwards as well? Whilst he's fast on these medium tyres, he doesn't have a lot of ERS to attack with, so he's got to try and get the moves done maybe elsewhere on the track. But look how fast he is in that middle sector, looking down the inside, in the first sector, sorry, looking down the inside of Sean there into turn 5. Had to think about it, but it wasn't quite close enough. Coming now through turn 7, he's on the ERS early enough. Is he close enough to Sean to make the move? Sean will have DRS in his defence, but no ERS in a defence either. Simply Superman will move to the inside line. Will he be late enough on the brakes? Coming down towards the chicane, gets down the inside. Sean brakes late as well. There's a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Simply Superman around the outside though is going to pull the move off. Gets up into 5th place. Sean running into the back of him, coming out the corner, trying to get back up the inside, but he doesn't have any straight line speed to be able to attack with, so I think Simply Superman's going to hold on to it. Meanwhile, on track, Hero Jokin's past Jan, but Jan's trying to fight back down the inside of 11. This doesn't seem like a very smart move for Jan. He's only going to lose time to the drivers behind. He would already pass Hero Jokin on penalties anyway, so I don't know why he's fighting this one so hard, and he can't hold on to 3rd on the road for this time being, so he drops down into 4th. Hero Jokin 3rd on the road, but it will be a battle now between Jan and Simply Superman for that final spot on the podium, and Simply Superman is absolutely flying at this point in the race.
Yeah, and Jan has quite a lot of ERS left compared to the other guys, but Simply Superman's looking so fast, and probably is gonna.
Oh, Jan's going for the move at turn 1. Jan down the inside of Hero Jokin at turn 1. Had to back out of it at the last second. He was really slow through the apex. And Simply Superman's already going for the move down towards turn 3. Can he get to the inside line for a move on the Mercedes? No, he can't. Stays in 5th place, but he's all over the back of the Mercedes in this first sector, basically pushing him through the track. These medium tyres so fast on that Alfa Romeo. It's really working for him, trying to get the move done, but still just isn't close enough, and I don't think we'll have the ERS to make the move. It's more we've got to look at Jan maybe going at Hero Jokin, but won't be close enough. I think they're going to stay in this order down this straight for the time being, but as I should say that Jan's having a look at Hero Jokin down towards the chicane, but isn't close enough. That DRS so powerful here at Circuit Paul Ricard. But my word, this has been a crazy race so far once again. Jan's holding on to 4th place on the road for the time being, but I think resistance is futile. It's going to be a matter of time surely before Simply Superman passes him.
Yeah, but as long as Jan can hold on to Hero Jokin, and Hero Jokin doesn't hold him up, he's quite safe. But when Hero Jokin is too far away, Simply Superman is just going to be a sitting duck, or Jan is just going to be a sitting duck for Simply Superman. But they do this every time to us. In the final couple of laps, there's action everywhere.
Yeah, this race is far from over. Still loads of things can happen in this one. This queue still goes all the way down to Harry Noir, who's refound some pace on his hard compound tyres. They're 18 laps old, and he's still hanging on to the back of this queue of cars, so he's doing a very good job. They are all now being caught by Frederick on those softs, but 6 laps already on these soft compound tyres. They would have been past their best by this point in the race as well, so he's going to have to hope maybe for a little bit of carnage to gain any more places in this race. Looking back then to this battle for 3rd place, it's the closest battle on track. Our 2 leaders are still out there, by the way. They are still going. We haven't really commented on them a lot this race. They've been so far out in front that we've not really need to mention them. B. Morgan still leads by about 1.6 seconds over Martin Bell. They've been about that gap between 2 and 1.5 seconds pretty much this entire race. They've been inseparable in pace. B. Morgan has just that slight advantage in the start of the race that's been able to hold him ahead of Martin Bell. Can Martin Bell use the freshness of his hards at the end of the race maybe to challenge B. Morgan on the last few laps? Simply Superman, though, his undoing at the moment seems to be his ERS. He hasn't managed his ERS very well, and because of that, he cannot get close enough to either of the 2 cars in front. Yeah,
he really has to save up some ERS, as Old School passed brake now on its soft tires.
Oh, wow.
So in the end, there was a 10-second gap, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a 10-second gap. Break FN has the oldest set of hard compound tyres alongside Harry Noir, so they're both obviously really struggling on their tyres in this race. They obviously pitted at the same time as Old School did when Old School put the mediums on. In the end, Old School seems pretty fast. He's now 11 seconds behind Frederick, so you'd imagine this is as far as Old School's going to get. It's now about whether Isotopic can get inside the top 10, 3.4 seconds back, and you would say that he could probably get there.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably can, and Simply Superman still isn't trying, but Jan is just, yeah, hats off for Jan. He stays in ERS and is able to save his ERS up for the long straight. So his defense really good today, really good.
Yeah, very, very smart. Good racecraft this has been from Jan so far. Simply Superman is sticking in. Is he just saving a little bit of ERS? No, he's straight on his ERS once again. Simply Superman at the moment seems to be wasting his ERS, it seems. He's just going for it as soon as he comes out of turn 6, and he's just wasting it down the straight. And look, he's already out because he's using it so early, and Jan can just now pull away in the second part of the straight. So maybe Simply Superman has to just wait for a couple laps, go for a move on the final lap on Jan, and take that 4th place on the road. That's probably his only bet at this point in the race, unless Hero Joking maybe makes a mistake and holds Jan up, but I don't see that happening, with Hero Joking having much fresher tyres than the hard runners around him. So there's still there's still 2 laps to go in this race. This race has absolutely flown by, it has to be said. This race has gone by in a flash, it feels like. And it's been so close between Jan, Simply Superman, Sean, Harry Noag and Hero Joking pretty much all race long. Jan, though, as I was saying a few laps ago, I thought it was a matter of time before Simply Superman was going to pass Jan. At this point, I don't think he's going to do it now.
No, I don't think he's going to do it either. I mean, he doesn't really have the time to save up his ERS now, Simply Superman. If he would have done that 2 laps ago, just saved it for 2 laps, stay behind, and he could have done a final attack and maybe in the last lap take the position off of him. But I don't see it happening anymore now.
Yeah, I don't see it happening anymore either. This is going to be incredibly difficult for Super Superman. He's going to have to wait for a mistake, surely, for him to try and make that move stick. Yeah, he's still running with only about 15% ERS, so he's not choosing to save his ERS either, which is really costing him. And that's one thing about France, it's very difficult to save your ERS. A lap ago, by the way, that gap between Breakerfen and Isotopic was 3.5 seconds. He's already through, so Isotopic's absolutely flying. What a shame for his race that it fell apart almost immediately off the line for him. Currently runs 10th, was 2nd in the championship, will definitely drop out of 2nd place in the championship to the driver behind him, who I believe, if I remember correctly, was Jan. Jan, 3rd in the championship. He's just ahead of Simply Superman in the championship standings as well. So Jan will jump up at the moment into 2nd in the standings, but with a lap to go, you've got to say B Morgan looks pretty safe in the race lead.
Yeah, he does. Martin Bell closed in a little bit this lap, but and as I say that,
he's closing in a lot. Has B Morgan left the session? His car's into the pit lane. I think B Morgan's left out the session. Oh my word, what a shame for B Morgan. Once again, 2 races in a row. It's fallen apart for B Morgan. Last time was driver error. This time round, it looks like B Morgan is unfortunately disconnected from the session. His car was ghosted. His car's come into the pit lane, and all of a sudden, Martin Bell's been gifted the race victory. Simply Superman and Jan, meanwhile, are side by side down the pit straight, just as you predicted. With a lap to go, it's blown up. Jan's going for the move down towards turn 1. He's just going to hold on ahead of Simply Superman for that 3rd place on the road, but this is now for 2nd place in this race. Simply Superman is going to come home with a podium, despite not passing Jan. And what a shame for B Morgan. Had a massive opportunity at another race victory, and his car, his internet or something has failed him. His car, he's left the session. I think he might be back in now, although his car is still ghosted on my end. He's out of the session, out of a race victory, and Martin Bell, in only his 2nd race this season, has been gifted a dominant race victory.
Yeah, this is devastating for B Morgan. Last race it was his own mistake which cost him, and now, yeah, probably a connection failure that cost him the race win. I mean, he was managing the gap all race long. He was driving superbly, and Martin Bell, yeah, it's going to be a new podium face on the podium today. And yeah, great result from Martin Bell, but he's gifted a little bit more than he should have.
Yeah, Martin Bell would have come home with a podium anyway with the pace he's shown, but unfortunately B Morgan, for the 2nd week in a row, it's all fallen apart for him. I think he is back in control of his car, and he might get Frederick at the end of this one and Harry Noir, but Martin Bell is going to cross the line and somehow claim victory in this race, in a crazy race. And Simply Superman on the final lap is going to pick up a time penalty with 2 corners to go. Hero Joking will cross the line 2nd on the road, but he has a lot of time penalties in this race. He will drop down. Jan takes 2nd. Simply Superman will take 3rd in this race. Sean will take 4th, you would imagine, as he crosses the line. Yes, he does. Just misses out on the podium. Sean had a puncture coming to the line, so he picked up a puncture on the final lap. Still came home in 4th place. Hero Joking 5th, Harry Noir 6th. B Morgan ends up 7th in this race. Frederick ends up 8th on penalties. Isotopic ends up 9th. Where did Old School finish? He had to pit again in this race, did Old School. I don't know what happened to Old School's race. He's left the session as well, so I wonder whether both him and B Morgan had problems in this one. Break FN crossed the line with a puncture, so my word, everyone Everyone's getting punches in this race. Isotopic ended up 9th, and David ended up in the top 10, I think, for the first time this season. That's his first top 10 finish in the McLaren. Just as you predicted, and it's happened every race so far this season, this race completely blew up in our faces. And in the end, Martin Bell's the one that came home with the race victory. He would have definitely secured a podium, and it was still a great drive for Martin Bell. But in the end, luck was really on his side, and for the second week in a row, the luck was against B. Morgan. And because of that disconnection, I think B. Morgan's going to lose the championship lead.
Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, he came home in P7. I hope he was reconnected when he came over the finish, because elsewhere he isn't going to get any points. So fingers crossed he was in his car. But yeah, and end of the race it blew up again. Punctures left and right and chaos everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That was... I don't know what to say. I don't think B. Morgan could have got any unluckier than that, if I'm honest. He led from start to finish. Obviously, a little bit of contact with Kiki at the first corner. That might be under review, but we'll have to wait and see. B. Morgan, though, from start to finish, had dominated that race along with Martin Bell. They were in a class of their own, and with a lap to go, it all falls apart for B. Morgan. What a shame that is what's happened to him. But Martin Bell was there to capitalise on it. He picks up the race victory in the end, and the race victory, the margin, not really representative of how that race went. Martin Bell ended up winning the race by 12.5 seconds. So far ahead of the rest of the field. That's incredible stuff. And like you say, I think that might be the biggest race winning margin we've seen all season long. Yang picks up second place, his third podium of the season. Another great drive from Yan, and I think he might pass both Simply Superman and... I think, Simply Superman. He's going to pass Simply Superman and B. Morgan in the championship, and Yan now might be our new championship leader going into round 6 of the championship. We're at the halfway point after this race, so my word, this has blown up once again. Simply Superman on the podium once again. Sean 4th ahead of Hero Joke, and Harry Noir gets it home in 6th. B. Morgan, Frederick, Isotopic, and David are top 10. Then Breaker Fen, Lighty, Old School, Steve, Langfell are finishers. Flores was a lap down. Kiki was a lap down as well. And Captain Chubbs and JD Nolan were two drivers that did not finish the race at the end of that one. So absolute chaos, that race. Well, it was quite stagnant, I would say, in the middle part of the race. The top two were so far out in front. End of the race, utter chaos once again. And in the end, Martin Bell was our 8th podium sitter of the season and our 4th different race winner this season.
Yeah, and that in only 5 races. So
yeah. Absolutely incredible. And you'd have to say that B. Morgan should have 4 of those 5 race victories, and it's not gone his way. I think B. Morgan is still definitely the favourite for the title, just with the pace he's shown today and throughout the season. But luck's not been on his side, or he's made mistakes, and it's cost him at the moment.
Yeah, it does, and especially today. I mean, if it's by your own mistake, like last week, it's not a good thing, and a terrible feeling. But losing out this way, it's just really, really unlucky. And my thoughts go out to you, B. Morgan.
Yeah, mine too, mate. That was
the true winner today.
Yeah, B. Morgan definitely would have been the true winner of that race. That is such a shame that ended like that for B. Morgan. I would have rather seen a battle for the race victory between him and Martin Bell, but unfortunately we didn't get it. B. Morgan loses out on the final lap because of a connection issue. But Martin Bell is our race winner today. Then Yan on the podium for the 3rd time this season. And I believe, if I remember correctly, him and Simply Superman have the most podiums so far this season with 3 apiece. I'm just going to have a double check of the podiums and see. Jan's been on the podium twice already this season. So has Simply Superman. So both of them are now 3-time podium sitters, and they are the ones that have been regularly on the podium. So while B. Morgan has been the one picking up the race victories, it's been Yan and Simply Superman the ones that are consistently at the front of the field. And while they're not necessarily winning races, they're still bringing home decent points.
Yeah, and in the end, it all counts up, and that's the most important thing. You can win half of the races and not finish the other half. Don't become a champion. You can come in 2nd every race and win the championship in the end. So, yeah, really important to keep that consistency in your driving throughout the season.
Yeah, it really is. You need to pick up the pieces wherever you can, and that's what they're doing at the moment. So this championship, we thought it was going to get... we thought once again for the 2nd week in a row that B. Morgan was going to come away from this round with a massive championship lead. It swung the complete opposite direction, and B. Morgan will no longer be the championship leader. So it's blown wide open once again for round 6, which is obviously going to be taking place next week on Thursday once again, just double checking and seeing actually what the round is for next season. I can't actually remember. I have the memory of a goldfish. I believe we are going to the British Grand Prix. We are, yeah. British Grand Prix then for the 6th round of the season. Another brilliant track for racing. That is short. I mean, every race so far this season has been an absolute cracker. Silverstone is always a great race. I'm really looking forward to that one. Obviously, tune into League Racing TV as well for the rest of the week. Tune in tomorrow for the Division 4 and 5 races. Good luck to you, Conti, in your race tomorrow as well. Fingers crossed you bring home a podium or a race victory, something like that. And then obviously tune into driver streams as well on Saturday and Sunday for the CRC races. They will be taking place Saturday and Sunday at 8 PM. Touring cars on Saturday, and Sunday will be the IndyCar League. And then back next week with Esports Masters League on Wednesday. So no Sprint League next week. It is a week's break for the Sprint League. In place is the Masters League, so that's back for its 4th round of the season. But thank you very much to everyone for joining us tonight, for driving, for commenting on the stream, for watching the stream. And from myself and Conti, we will see you again this time next week. Goodbye.